I spend about 10 to 20% of my GCI. And if we write 3 mil, we're spending 300 to 600K in outbound marketing. And it is the best investment because it guarantees you revenue in the next 12 months. Goal setting has its importance in society, but I don't know in real estate if goal setting is the be all and end all. I would just be really razor sharp on new foundational business and not just chasing other agents' expireds on 60 days. Don't get lazy.
Today, I'm with Pat Ivey, the #1 ranked Harcourts agent across Australia. In this episode, you'll learn how Pat reinvests 10 to 20% of his GCI into marketing every single year, the just listed, just sold call structure that turns every sale into new appraisal conversation, and why daily discipline beats annual goal setting, and the morning routine Pat does instead. Right, let's dive in.
If you have a little voucher attached to it, people like free stuff in Australia. And I've just learnt that if you give them value, they may read your brochure on their way to the free coffee. Using the just listed, just sold as an anchor for a conversation of a local homeowner within a 50-metre radius. They're just straight up outsourcing the dollar productivity. So I think that that's lazy. I was a far more expensive option than the public trustee, but became a far cheaper option when we sold it at auction for $285,000 above reserve.
This episode is brought to you by Real Growth. If you're an agent who wants more listings, more income, and you want the exact strategies you can use to achieve success, you're in the right place. I'm Ben Hawkey, and this is the Real Growth Podcast.
When you look at your business today from where you started, what have been the activities that you have been doing consistently that has allowed you to become like that #1 Harcourts agent in Australia?
Sure. So being really relevant and recognizable within my core area. So whether that be sponsoring school, community events, but going one step further, having all the local parents that know you, that you've transacted with, or you're trying to get their attention to transact down the future, having them on social media has been a huge advantage because social media is like a database call. Each time someone posts or you see something or you post, you're kind of progressing it or you're seeing how they are progressing their life and you have more to converse about the next time that you meet with them. Just like it's a relationship advantage, I feel like having them on social media. But yeah, so getting the community stuff down pat is key. On top of that, having brand awareness. So we often have lots of open homes, which we have the benefit of, but therefore we have more A-frames up, more signboards up, more brochures going out. So it is obviously a lot easier once you have that brand recognition. But even at the start, even if I didn't have many open homes, I would still on Saturdays call my pipeline. If I had time on Saturday, I'd do that today because there's so much business everywhere. Saturdays are the best day for prospecting. Fact, everyone's too busy through the week. So yeah, I mean, there's so much that I could go into on that, but community and brand exposure and pipeline, these are the 3 fundamentals to building my business in Brisbane.
Do you have an example? Like, because people will hear this and go, all right, branding, all right, wow, I just want to get my face out there and I'm going to buy a billboard or whatever. But like, can you give me a real life example of what works really well for you from a branding community point of view?
You know, you got to know your main roads. You got to know where the traffic runs. You got to know where the foot traffic runs. This is not just spray and pray mechanism like most agents. You know, many times before I make an investment on a $10,000 digital signboard in Camp Hill, I will give it thought. I will do the drive several times down that street at 60, 40, at 80, the 60 zone, but there's some 80 drivers out there. And I will understand, is this going to be an ROI? I'm not making stupid decisions with my budget. I will also put money into clubs that I know a vendor is involved in. I will not put money into a club if I don't know anyone in the institution. Such a waste of coin. I could reinvest that into a local school. You're better off. So, for example, this year I'm going South's Rugby Union Club. Now, I don't sell a lot around Souths, but I know the vendor or I know a client who is a big advocate for me there. That's good. Rub shoulders with people that know you, know of you. It's better than doing something that's not going to work out. So it's a big investment. Now, I've already signed with a rugby league juniors club for next year, getting organized for years in advance with my budget and my marketing. And that'll be an even bigger spend. It'll be 10 to 15 at Carina Rugby League Club. But these are all clubs where I know the owners and I know the people, and they all own property in Brisbane. These are not tenants, but at the same time, tenants still are potentially landlords because they might have an investment property. But these are people that I know will refer me on to people. I'm being smart with my budgeting for marketing because that is brand presence. And if you're silly with your money and your budgeting, goodbye brand, because you won't even be in business in a year's time. I spend about 10 to 20% of my GCI. And if we write 3 mil, we're spending 300 to 600K in outbound marketing. And it is the best investment because it guarantees you revenue in the next 12 months.
Right. And when you're sponsoring the local footy club or whatever it might be, or the juniors, are you doing it more than just throwing your face or your name on the shirts? Are you getting involved in the club, and how are you kind of probably going a bit above and beyond than most agents probably do from a branding perspective?
Yeah, for sure. Being seen at the games, rubbing shoulders with some of the parents, players, whatever, but also social media, collabing with them on Instagram posts. When you collab with a club, you will see the benefit of their following as well. Being really smart with it. There's no point sponsoring if you're not going to go down on a Saturday afternoon after open arms. So that's where I like to go. Yeah, the training kit. No one reads that. Let's be real. The signage is good, but there's probably a little bit more to it. It's a layer effect. Like all of a sudden you drive past Stanley Road in Carina and you got the hockey club, you see my sign. The bowls club next to it, see my sign. The leagues club, see my sign next year. So, it's cool because you just start to get that domino effect in the community. Okay, well, this guy's not just banking his profits, he's reinvesting into communities that allow for new sports facilities, and another player who maybe doesn't have a great upbringing to play a season free of charge and stuff like that. So just maybe a little bit more moving stuff than you may have thought as an agent.
Yeah. Well, keeping on the kind of the track of marketing and branding, one of the things I really enjoyed what you said on the last podcast was that you're not just doing DLEs, but you're adding a voucher onto that. Can you expand a little bit more on how you're kind of being a bit different with your DLEs?
Mm. Yeah, you've got 2 to 3 seconds of the consumer's attention when they go to the letterbox. Bang, rubbish. Bin, bang, rubbish. Real estate shit. I've got a genuine buyer. All the crap, right? But if
Yeah.
you have a little voucher attached to it, people like free stuff in Australia. And I've just learnt that if you give them value, they may read your brochure on their way to the free coffee. So it's a cool way to get that consumer attention span longer than 2 to 3 seconds. And the amount of times too that an owner that you're sitting with, this could be a year down the track, they say, mate, we received your voucher from the coffee shop. Thanks for that. They'll always remember freebies. So I think that that's just a cool little initiative that we've done, which is very expensive. Not many other agents are doing it because, hey, you've got to spend $1 to make $1. All these agents out here wanting to just sign someone up on the spot. All the best with that. You're going to experience friction, especially in this competitive market. So I'm finding that is just a nice icebreaker to a conversation, or an icebreaker. Doesn't mean that you're going to get their listing, but they may consider you the table or refer you to a friend or family member.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar tab or the coffee tab can be $500 at a time, okay? It's a lot of money for no listing. I reckon that's money well spent. The DLs cost me $1,000 to $2,000. The letterbox dropper cost me $550. So it's an expensive exercise. But what do you need? You need a referral, one listing, and it's a great way to begin that conversation.
So it's a DLE, maybe of a recent sale, and then on the back there's an offer which is like, hey, take this to the local XYZ cafe and get a free coffee on me. Like what does it say, and what
You're
kind of
spot on. Just listed?
ROI do you see on that? Like, are you getting many people redeeming it, or how does it actually work?
Yeah, so I've taken some video content at the cafe just to show how many vouchers were utilized, because how else do you monitor
Yeah,
viewership? There's no red tags, unfortunately, on a DL, only on social media. So it's the only way that I could manage viewership,
yep,
engage. Okay, so 200 people, right, have used it out of 5,000. I'm not breaking records, but 200 people are now better off. Free coffee, how good's caffeine? And often they've found this cafe and gone, fuck, this is a sweet cafe. They do lots of donuts and stuff like that, which is really attractive. And it's got a really good fit out. So they have a good experience going up there. They might not have even known of Aroma, you know?
yeah, yeah. And like you're supporting local businesses as well, just like you're supporting the local footy club and you're reinvesting into the community once again. So from over the years, like you said, you've been in real estate since 2016. You've got obviously now probably a large database of homeowners. How are you keeping in touch and building and strengthening those relationships with the homeowners that are on your database?
Mm. Mate, it is a tricky one. And I don't want to speak ill of database management. And, especially in the real estate training world, we need to have structure. But that's where I may fall away. So I think peeling back the onion, am I really structured, disciplined, organized? Very disciplined. Turn up, do my calls, make my contacts, contact sport. I'm a winner. But, mate, in terms of notes, tasks, assigning follow ups, it's not my forte. I'd like to work on that. But then again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What I'm doing is currently working. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have a pipeline, but I generally use my notes section for pipeline. I have a phenomenal memory, which is good and bad, but at the
Good.
same time, not really using the CRM system Vault RE unless it's for buyer feedback for a vendor report. Okay.
Before we move on with the episode, I just want to share something genuinely useful, especially if you're a real estate agent or a real estate business owner. Now, after analyzing over 2,000 property listing campaigns, we found something most agents miss. 20 to 30% of buyer inquiries are coming from local homeowners. And around 10% of those homeowners go on to sell their own property within the next 12 months, which means your future listings are often already sitting amongst those buyer inquiries. You just don't know who they are and how to uncover those opportunities. And that's why we created the Level Up Listing Toolkit. It's a free resource we have created that will show you how to identify those homeowners, nurture them properly, and ultimately convert them into future listings. You can download the toolkit by clicking the link in the show notes below, or if you're on Instagram or Facebook, just comment the word toolkit and we'll send it directly to you. All right, back to the episode.
Now, we have VAs. VAs every Monday morning will cross-reference all the owners that have come through our open homes. Send me the list. I'll call the owners of property that have come through and that's not reinventing the wheel. You already know that. But that is a system. That system works because a lot of these buyer owners come through my opens, kind of know of me now, which is cool. It's a lot easier conversation to, they often will invite me before I even had closed for an appraisal. So that's a nice, which I didn't get 10 years ago. So I'll make the most of that. But the note taking, there's still note taking on the note list, but it's not clean. Really, I'm just a little bit catch and kill with my approach in that I've listed a property on Gallipoli Road. Cool. Everyone around Gallipoli will get a call saying, come along to the opener.
Yeah.
And then when I've prompted me, sold a property on Old Cleveland Road. Cool. Everyone around Old Cleveland receives a call if they own a property. Have just sold this. So using the just listed, just sold as an anchor for a conversation of a local homeowner within a 50-meter radius. I guess I come back to that if I get
Yep.
lost.
Yep.
And that gives me great structure. Doesn't even have to be your listing. Could be someone else's. They won't have that number from across the street. They won't have that relationship. So just call it.
So you're leveraging your VAs. So when people come through open homes, they are checking that name and to see if they own a property. And are you collecting their address at the open home too, so they can cross-reference how does that actually
There'll be
work
some light conversation around, are you
Yep.
local? Great. How good's this area? You'd be a great candidate if you knew a friend or a family member who wants to buy into this house because you live in the area, right? And you just open-ended, assumptive closing, especially if
Yep.
you've seen them around a few times, you've earned the right. Often we'll see the same buyer 3 times on one day through 3 different homes out of our 12 to 16 opens. So, these people are very, very forthcoming with information after
Yep.
you've met them a few times. They feel comfortable. They know how you operate.
Yeah. Gotcha. And so when you say you're hitting the phones and you say, you're not afraid of, getting a phone and talking to the just listed, just sold, and the open home callbacks are the main types of calls that you're doing on a daily or weekly basis, or are there any other types of calls that you're kind of doing to bring in and have conversations with
Yeah.
local homeowners?
Hot pipeline morning,
Yeah.
notes section.
Yeah. Right.
Hot buyers from the Saturday open that have either rung out or on the Monday said they need more time. You're my next target. I really want to convert you to a second inspection or an offer. Then in the afternoon, vendor management. Calling my owners, giving them the update from the day that was, letting them know how I went with the calls just beforehand to those buyers, letting them know if any of that's translated. If not, okay, do we need to align our price better? Do we need a price improvement meeting? All these things. It's never a price reduction, it's a price improvement. And ensuring that they're on the same page. I'm using my REA Ignite reports for data to have conversation with them. Let's be real. All these views mean sweet FA, but owners like to know where their 3.5 grand has gone from REA and domain. So talking about the ROI, good on the real estate reports, using that as a conversation topic, talking about your feedback from the weekend with them, talking about what's just come to market, listed inventory as competition, and talking about the upcoming open homes, who we are expecting, anticipating, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of structure to my day.
Yeah.
And I got home at 7:30-ish last night. They're big days, man. Gonna manage my energy. Starting a
Yeah.
little later today. It's 9:57 in Brisbane. Just finished a gym session. So I'm not going to burn the candle at both ends. If I finish late, I'm going to start a little later.
Yeah.
And I'm in the car all the time, and I'd hate to show you the back seat of my car. It is just empty water bottles for days because I am here, there, everywhere, and I'm on the phone the whole time. That's why I've got really raspy voice. I have burnt it with the amount of calls I've made. But I wouldn't have
So
it any other way.
yeah, 100%. And so shifting gears a little bit and just looking at, a lot of agents out there, they're working by themselves and they go, right, I want to hire my first team member to support me to grow the business. Like, what advice would you give them based on your experience building a team? Who should they be hiring first? Does it depend? Or like, what's your kind of thoughts around building a team?
Yeah, I think the old adage of you put someone on not to supplement your prospecting. You put them on so you can prospect more. So they
Right.
alleviate your time. They can do all this other administrative tasks or buyer work. Therefore, you can just, really hone in on the hot buyers and the hot sellers in your market and try and unearth opportunities. So I see it all the time. They'll put someone on who just does cold calling, then that person will be in for a month or two and then they'll go
Yeah.
and they'll put someone else on for a month or two of prospecting. So I just don't think that that's the path forward based on experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, the third person is an even better addition, right? This is the glue to the team. You've got two collabs who prospect as well. And then you got this glue that can sort of prospect if required, but also fill in for you and do what opens with you. And it's a great thing. We've now got 5, and they're all very different people. It's key to have a female dynamic. But yeah, we've
Yeah.
got, an Irishman, we've got a Serbian, we've got a Polishman. So man, we got all different sorts. And yeah, it's a great thing to have diversity.
Yeah. 100%.
You can relate to more people.
Yeah. Yep. That did right. Did right. Like, where do you think people, I guess you kind of said it actually before, but like, where do you think people go wrong when they're hiring? Are they hiring someone, like you said, who's just to outsource prospecting or just to manage buyers, or that? Where do you see people go wrong when they make their first hire?
Yeah, they're just straight up outsourcing the dollar productivity.
Yeah.
So I think that that's lazy. I think, you've got the skill set, the experience. It'd be a silly chessboard move to just put someone on to do your role. Let's be real. So we got to think about leverage. We got to think about, how can I leverage my time now to do more dollar productivity? Great. Maybe they could vlog me while I do it. Maybe we could do some videos for social media together.
Yeah.
Let's do things in collab and not just rely on them to do the hard work.
Yeah. Gotcha. No, it makes
There's
complete
all
sense.
different tasks. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of agents that I talk to going into 2026, and they're like, I did 15 listings last year. Next year, I want to do this 2026. I want to do 30 listings. Everyone's got goals going into the year. Where do you think most agents maybe go wrong when it comes to like having those goals to grow their business? Like, where are they putting their energy that's actually not actually going to move the needle, or they're investing in the wrong areas? I don't know. Where do you see agents seem to go wrong?
Mm.
Are they just not consistent at a specific activity? When
Yeah,
you
I
look around
think,
the
goal setting has its importance in society, but I don't know in real estate if goal setting is the be all and end all. I think discipline, taking necessary actions daily is far more important than any sort of goal on paper. I think what you should be putting on paper, and this is what I do every morning, is I journal. What am I grateful for? What would make today great? Daily affirmations. Then at the end of the day, how happy am I out of 10? Highlights of my day. This is far better than any sort of goal setting. This is daily journaling. And on that, in the morning, I might not be ultra specific around real estate. I'll still make mention to it. But if I get in the right headspace early, then I can deal with chaos early.
Hey, if you're getting value from this conversation and you're the type of person who doesn't want to listen to good ideas, but you actually want to implement them, we've built something for you. Every podcast we record, we pull out the key strategies and turn them into done-for-you action plans, scripts, and templates. So instead of frantically scribbling notes or telling yourself, I'll come back to that later, and never doing it, we're giving you the actual tools to go and implement what you're hearing right now. You can find all of this inside the Real Growth Listing Lab. Every guest, every episode, every strategy turned into something you can use to start growing your business tomorrow. Just click the link in the show notes. It'll only take 10 seconds. Right, let's get back into it.
Real estate is a chaotic industry. You've got lunatic competitors in your core area who are spinning tales, yarns, doing whatever to onboard a listing, genuine request buyers, all that stuff. So a lot of that is just noise. The minute you exit noise, it's like you're exiting out of space. It's just, and I listened to the New York top agent at Barrick talk about this on a potty.
Yeah.
When you're up there, mate, and you're out of the white noise, it's just really silent. So in the mornings, it can be really peaceful. You're just noting, so grateful to have this coffee this morning. Got a lot to look forward to. My health's great. Family's well. Fuck. I got nothing to complain about. let's go.
Let's
And
go.
when you're in that zone, man, there's clarity and closure. It's bulletproof. So it's really challenging to beat someone who is in that really clean headspace.
Yeah.
And there are people trying to do it. And I take my hat off to them because it's exhausting. And if you don't really like have that framework and foundation, mate, you could burn out really quick. And I have burnt out in the past. Sorry, I took you off on a bit of a tangent there.
No, but I love it. Like, it's good to, you know, it's good to actually know what really for you is really moves the needle, and the fact that, journaling and having a clear headspace and getting away from all the bullshit is really, I guess, helped you grow your business without the distractions.
Correct, man. And the reason I circle it back to goal setting is I would adjust the language to daily journaling and what is important today. Kick it off. It's an old school trait. It's a stoic trait to journal, write down, acknowledge. I think that that's really important. Instead of just goal setting, I don't know, you might just set out just only I'm grateful that I will be having conversations with people today,
Yeah.
homeowners today, whatever. And all of a sudden, the highlight of the day, like yesterday, got called up from a lady, thought it went phenomenally well. Boy, was I wrong. That's okay. She said, Pat, to be honest, yeah, I actually wanted to go with you, but I'm going to go with the other person. Okay, I've heard all that before. And, there was a big listing, $3 million listing, Cooper. I said, that's fine. All the best with it. You could get disappointed with that, Ben, or you get straight back on the phone and just unearth new sellers, use that energy as fuel. And I ended up listing a big listing in Camp Hill as a result of that afternoon. Sold a property for 2.9 million in Karina that afternoon. Settled a property. So mate, turn your shit around. Life goes on. You lose a listing, you lose a deal, something goes sour, dust it off, we move again. This is the only attitude you may have to go from 15 listings, 30 listings this year. It's not just from writing a goal down, 30 listings. More balls in the air, my friend.
And so you say, the phone's ringing, and obviously you're actively also, reaching out to people from your openings. Are most your listings coming from the listings that you've got, or like where's the business coming in from? Like, if you look at your business, is 80% of the business coming from one kind of key activity that you're doing? Is it the sponsorships? Is it the listings? Where is the business coming? The inbound inquiries?
From my core business area, Ben. This is the area from the beginning of this potty when I mentioned to you A-frames. From a molecular level of having an A-frame out the front of a main road, to the signboard, to the open home, to the energy, the good service, the good question asking, to the follow-up, to the meeting at their property, to the conversion, to the vendor management, to the exceeding of the expectation, not just the conditioning, to the referral zone. Like, that is the step of the real estate cycle, right? Just getting that down pat. But yes, I'm very fortunate. Open homes are busy, lots of owners. Great. I've got runs on the board. Okay, well, where do I start if I'm starting out? Do I go for the low hanging fruit? Expired listings on the markets, whatever, withdrawals? Do I go the high hanging fruit? Community, school sponsorships, long game. Got to go a bit of both, but definitely leaning towards the higher hanging fruit, which is far less competitive in the long run. It's where you want
Yeah.
to be.
And so I know we're coming short on time, but what do you mean exactly when you say high hanging fruit? Like, can you give us an example of what you when you say you're going after high hanging fruit? Are you able to provide a bit more like context around what you mean, and what that actually looks like?
High hanging fruit is the owner on CoreLogic RP data who does not have any updated images of their front facade. So that's a portal that we use over here for ownership data. And generally, all the properties have an updated photo and internals because they've either rented or exchanged in the last 7 to 10 years. High hanging fruit, there's no phone number, no updated photo. They've owned it since 82. This is the non-contested business if you get it right. That's what I'm attracted to getting. And I just had one the other day at 919 Old Cleveland Road. Unfortunately, a deceased estate, but the family member was familiar with me because they'd known that I'd either had a relationship with the granddad or whatever. He wanted to use me over the public trustee. I was a far more expensive option than the public trustee, but became a far cheaper option when we sold it at auction, for $285,000 above reserve. So, it's things like that. That's high hanging fruit, man. Often they say to you, going out in the box, mate, it's because their home and their location is awesome and they don't want to sell. Why would they want to go to a retirement village? They live in Carina Heights, mate. Like it's an interesting beast, but I've started to tap into that because no one's getting that data unless you're at the clubs, at the bowls club with the 80-year-old there having a pint with him, man. Like you can't, that's invaluable timing. You can't sync the timing on that stuff. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So it's just building long-term relationships with people throughout wherever you meet them, different places, but maintaining those relationships because at some point in the future, they may sell their home and you're being the person who's always been top of mind. Is that correct? Like it's just
correct, man.
Building and maintaining relationships.
The momentum over years, it's an avalancheal effect. I mean, it's just snowballs, and it's bigger and bigger. And that is years of layering, Ben. That's not big noting, it's layering. So DL-With-Voucher, follow-up calls, sold signs, billboards. You get it, man. It's just all of that. Plus you throw social media in the mix. Now the 80-year-old owner of a prime post-war in Carina Heights is not on socials. I get it. They're in letterbox. They're online. I guess they're on phone calls sometimes. So having a really good, healthy balance of low-hanging fruit, high-hanging fruit, social media, offline, awesome.
All working in combination. Yeah, 100%. Mate, final question, we'll wrap this up. If you could give one piece of advice to an agent who wants to build a sustainable long-term business in real estate, they don't want to be around for 2 years and leave the industry, what would it be? What one piece of advice would you give them?
Yeah, definitely. I would ensure that your lead prospecting strategy is not chasing expireds, because the minute that an agent chases expireds, it's a major red flag. They do not have enough listings themselves. They're chasing my clients. Okay. Such an easy grenade. If I'm getting my listing chased, I just let the owner know, geez, they must be desperate for a listing, man. I mean, if they got a buyer, let's do a conjunction. Very easy grenade. So you can always flip it, but you get a very bad reputation in the industry if you're an agent who just chases expires and withdrawals. Now, low-hanging fruit, awesome. But I got great relationships with most of the agents in my core area, and they hold me in high regard. I hold them in high regard. But then you've got that few that try and cut, and they go for the expires, and I can guarantee I'll be out of the game in 2 years, unfortunately, because this is a relationship business with these owners. They don't want to be cut in the process, and other agents will always remember that, and they'll start cutting you. So goes around, comes around in that regard. So I would just be really razor sharp on new foundational business and not just chasing other agents' expireds on 60 days. Don't get lazy.
Before we finish, here are 2 simple actions you can take following today's episode. First, if you're a real estate agent focused on growing your real estate business and you'd just like some clear guidance on what marketing and prospecting systems you should be focusing on so you can list more properties, make more money, and ultimately build a sustainable long-term real estate business, simply click the link in the show notes and book a marketing roadmap call with either myself or the team. Or alternatively, if you're happy with the income you're making, please just hit the share button and share this episode with an agent in your office who might benefit from hearing it. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the next episode.